Hello again, my name is Ben Lippert and we are coming back to look at the next phase of my course project for FS 504. I've been looking at my daily fitness and we are now in the measure phase. So we are going to be reviewing the events that have taken place during that phase of the project. Throughout this presentation we're going to first review the project goals, problems, and kind of the reasoning for this project. Then we'll look at some of the hurdles I've faced so far in the measuring phase, and a big part of this presentation will look at the data that's been collected so far, some of the trends we're seeing up to this point, and then finally we'll look at the next steps into the next phases of the project. So let's get started. First off, we can look at our project goals. The main goal here is to track and monitor my daily activity. Again, this is going to include gym time, walking, running, hiking, anything that's going to be summed up in a 24-hour period. A big point that I wanted to add here, I've got it in bold, is that I need to set some more specific goals for myself, something that's achievable to be able to track better in the next phases of the project. So I set some standards. One, to walk at least 7,500 steps. It's kind of the recommended value, I think. So that shouldn't be too hard. And then have a minimum of 3 events that are ranked at a 2 or higher in intensity level. We'll talk more about the intensity level later on the project. Basically, that is a ranking that I give to each physical event that happens each day. And then kind of going over the problem or the reason or the need for this project was because I've never actually tracked my progress or my daily routine. I've been active throughout my life and somewhat physically fit, and I've never really tracked it. So that was a big point. And then also, as most of you know, it's really beneficial to maintain your fitness level, and ideally let's increase it for our overall health. So first off, let's review again of what I was doing to measure my data. I'm tracking my daily activity every day, before I go to bed, ideally. We'll track my workouts, my steps through, as you can see here, the Misfit device. And then also I'm tracking the intensity of my workout. And we'll see that in the table here in a few slides, but basically it's a subjective ranking that I've set up that if 0 would be a ranking of no activity, I could give myself a 1 or a 2 for just walking, maybe a 3 to a 4 for running or hiking, and maybe like a 4 to a 5 for some of those really heavy physical activities like heavy weightlifting or CrossFit or something along those very extreme styles would be that high 4 or 5 style ranking. So it is subjective, and I kind of have to be honest with myself, but I've gotten a hang of it, and it's pretty accurate so far. So in the measuring phase, we've already seen some hurdles. Some of those hurdles, I wanted to show this fishbone from the first presentation in the define phase, because we're seeing these problems come up already. So some of my hurdles is that this is just an extremely busy point in my life. I'm changing jobs, I'm moving, I just got engaged. Time is just not there right now. I'm actually working out less than I ever have in my life, so that's been a hurdle. And then actually just making sure that I put data in every single day. Sometimes you'll miss a day and have to bounce back and retrace your steps, so that's been difficult. And then also you'll see in the data that my battery on my Misfit activity tracker actually died already one time. So I've put a process in place now that I check every morning that my Misfit is on, and then before I go to bed, before I take it off, I make sure it's still on, so I know that it tracked throughout that day. The company says that the battery should last 4. Alright, so looking at the data right now, we can see on the left side that we start with my date, obviously, and then the activity. So that activity is what we're talking about with that intensity factor, that 0 to 5 intensity factor. As you can see, running, walking, those have those 1 to 3 ranges. If there is no activity, you see the blank spot, we have a 0 for intensity. And then hiking, weightlifting, things like those are going to be those higher 4 to 5 ranges. Then I track the duration of the activity, and then we have my daily steps. So we've got ranges from below 7,500, which is now my goal, to up to 1,300 or 1,500 or 13,000 or 15,000 some days. And then on those days that I did not have activity, those days that we just tracked steps and there was no real activity event, I gave myself a reason of why. So traveling, you can see on the 21st where the battery died. Social conflicts are going to be weddings or events that I had to go to that just there's no time of the day to get a workout in. And then also the comments were kind of stuff that I like to track, just special comments. What I did for a weightlifting workout, what I did extra in the run, or where steps came from for a certain day, like mowing the lawn. These next couple slides are just some bar graphs that look at the data a little differently for myself. Not really analyzing too much, but just a little bit easier way for me to track it. This first one is just looking at my intensity of activities. So here you can really see some of the trends now. You can see my days that I did not work out, where there's no activity. And it looks like most of them are at the end of the week, those Friday, Saturday, Sunday days. And then you can also see at these higher points, these 4s, and are mostly majority kind of in the beginning of the week. So that's interesting to see. And then the next bar graph that I set up was just a way for me to track my daily steps. And I put my goal there, that's 7,500 steps a day mark, so we can see what days were above and what days were below. And again, you can see that blank spot for my battery life going out in my misfit on the 21st of September. Again, this is a good way to make sure that I got my steps and kind of see where what days I wasn't getting my steps on, and maybe I can get a conclusion of why from that. So now we can look at my next steps. And the next steps of the process are going to be the analyze and improve phase. First off, we're going to continue to measure and collect data throughout this whole process. Data will probably end on 12/13, which is when the oral final project is due. So that would be probably the best time to end the data collection. But between now and then, we've got our analyze phase that's coming up. So that's going to be our opportunity to start making those Pareto charts and control charts and possibly histograms and other ways to analyze and really kind of manipulate that data to find trends. And in the long run, identify our root cause. So we'll ideally identify a root cause, and then through the next step would be then to create a solution and implement that solution. The goal I set for myself was to implement that solution by 10/27, so that'll give me another week to see how the data is affected day by day before that next project point is due. So we'll see if there's any changes in the data, and ideally there are from the solution that I implement. For now, that's about it. So thank you for again listening to the presentation, and hopefully we'll come back with some improvements in the process in the next phase of this project. Thank you.